Chapter 4, Section 1. Chapter 4 is all about functions. We're going to start just by talking about using a graph to relate two quantities. So copy the following example. A model rocket rises quickly and then slows to a stop as its fuel burns out. It begins to fall quickly until the parachute opens, after which it falls slowly back to Earth. They want a sketch of a graph that can represent the height of the rocket during its flight, and we have to label each section. So looking at the graph, we need to have a title. We need to have our axes with arrows at the ends. We need to label those axes, and then we need to graph. And it's saying label each section so you can get an idea of what the graph is representing. So the rocket rises quickly. Well, if the x-axis, the bottom axis, is the time, and the y-axis, the vertical one, is the height, and we're talking about just a sketch, we're not doing this on graph paper. Rising quickly means the line has a steeper increase. Then it stops rising, so it gets to its peak point, its apex, A-P-E-X. It slows to a stop as its fuel burns out. So its fuel burns out around here. Then it begins to fall quickly. So rising quickly, falling quickly. Then the parachute opens. So there's an abrupt stop here where the parachute opens, after which you're falling slowly back to Earth. So it's not as steep descending because the speed isn't as fast. So the height over time, the line is showing you how fast you're rising. So if it's a short amount of time, like from here to here, the steeper the line, the faster the increase that's talking about. So let's try this example. Copy it down. And then try to sketch a graph. Remember your title, your axes, labeling your axes, and labeling each section. When Malcolm jogs on the treadmill, he gradually increases his speed until he reaches a certain level. Then he jogs at this level for several minutes. Then he slows to a stop and stretches. After this, he increases to a speed that is slightly lower than before and jogs at this speed for a short while before slowing to a stop again. What is a possible sketch of a graph that shows Malcolm's jogging speed during his workout? Label each section. So your y-axis is going to be the speed at which he's jogging, and your x-axis is going to be over what amount of time. Take a minute, pause the video, and see if you can get a correct sketch or close to a correct sketch of what this graph would look like. Do it in pencil first so that we can make corrections when you unpause the video. So here we can see what our graph should look like. The only thing that we should add in here is a title because we need to have a title. So we can add in Malcolm's run on the treadmill. So every word problem that you graph should have a title. So now we can look at the word problem step by step. When Malcolm jogs on the treadmill, he gradually increases until he reaches a certain level. So that we can see he's increasing his speed until he reaches a certain level, and then he jogs at this level for several minutes. So that's this flat surface here, this steady speed, a constant speed. Then he slows to a stop and stretches. So he's slowing down, he stops, so he's not running anymore, so that's why his speed is at 0, and he stretches. After this, he increases to a speed that's slightly lower than before, so that's why this constant speed is lower than this. So he increases to a speed slightly lower than before and jogs at this constant speed again for a short while before slowing to a stop. So slowing to a stop and stretching. So that's where the graph ends. Make sure you have each section labeled and bring any questions that you have on this to class tomorrow.